Today on Monkey Life, Alison and Jeremy travel to Argentina to meet chimps Sasha and Kangoo and prepare to bring them back to their new Dorset home.
Now to see them in the flesh in their enclosure, really nice.
Stump-tailed macaque Toto is reintroduced to the females as the team attempt to help the stumpies sort out their hierarchy problems.
I'm very nervous. Hopefully it does all go well. We have got measures in place for if it does go wrong. Fingers crossed it won't.
And jelly good fun at the orangutan nursery. But which floating balls contain the treat? Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
Hopefully she'll walk in as well as he did, so this would be fantastic. Fingers crossed.
The park provides a home for more than 260 primates from 25 different species. Buenos Aires, capital city of Argentina and home to a population of more than 15 million people. Nestled in one corner of the sprawling metropolis is a 44-acre site of lush vegetation. Once a zoo, but now an eco-park specialising in native species. Monkey World's director Alison Cronin and animal director Jeremy Keeling have just arrived in the city after a flight of over 6,000 miles. They're here to collect two chimpanzees in need of a new home and take them back to Dorset.
Finally! Yay!
How are you?
Yeah.
They're met by Thomas Sciola, the eco-park's head of biodiversity, conservation and wildlife, and key to the long-planned operation.
We're really happy. We couldn't be more excited. I've been working with Alison and Jeremy for close to a year already in order to basically organize everything. The keepers have been working really hard with training them. The vets have been working really hard with getting there healthy and ready for the translocation as well. So being close to the date is just something that I'm just thrilled, yeah.
Alison and Jeremy are keen to get their first look at the two chimpanzees, Sasha and her son, Kangoo. But first, they're going to meet some of the team who've helped plan the relocation.
The chimps will be perfect, and it's Jeremy and I who have to educate ourselves about what Sasha and Kangoo need. Okay. So it's mainly for us to spend a few days understanding what their lifestyle is like.
The historic Buenos Aires Zoo first opened in 1888 and ever since has housed a number of native and exotic species. But in 2016, the city government decided to close the 140-year-old zoo and transform it into a modern-day interactive eco-park to preserve and protect Argentinian wildlife. The decision meant non-native species needed to be rehomed.
Been talking to Tom for quite a while about the different conservation work that EcoPark does, and witnessing the transition from what was an old urban city zoo into a conservation center that's trying to protect and conserve wildlife from Argentina. And, you know, this is the whole basis of why the chimpanzees are leaving the park. So seeing the work that they're doing with conservation and the facilities and the infrastructure that the government has been putting into all of this is a real eye-opener, and I think perhaps the way forward for zoos around the globe. They're setting a very good example, I think.
Chimps, Sasha and Kangoo are some of the last non-native animals to be rehomed. The elephants and giraffes still at the park are old and potentially unsuitable for moving, so for now will continue to be cared for there. Alison and Jeremy get their first chance to study the chimps close up.
Hey, Kangoo.
Fully grown male Kangoo is 15 years old. His mother Sasha is 25.
What are you doing? What? He's a nice-looking lad.
But the relationship is complicated. They're also half-brother and sister. Alison is keen to learn as much as she can about them.
He is a big guy. He doesn't have as much muscle. So do they usually sleep on the ground?
Everywhere, but not like fully sleeping. During the night, they prefer hay. Sometimes hay, those nests they use a lot, but something more
Soft.
mushy.
Yeah. So they get bedding every night of some kind.
Yeah.
Alison and Jeremy are going to spend 6 days getting to know the chimps with the help of the Argentinian keepers. They want to learn about their characters and their likes and dislikes.
There they are. It's so amazing because I've been doing so many, meetings by Zoom and so on and getting photos and videos of Sasha and Kangoo, but now to see them in the flesh in their enclosure, really nice, really interesting because he's not as big as I thought he was, not quite as ripped, so really interesting to see. They're gonna have to get ahead for heights. Hadn't really thought about that. Our climbing frames are really tall, and they don't have that happening here, so there's gonna be a big adjustment for them because this is what they've known all of their life. But really good to see them. They look really fit and healthy, all good.
Today is just a first look. The hard work and preparation begins tomorrow.
Feeling really happy and probably time to call it a day and let these guys get some sleep because they're having early morning training sessions to get them ready for the early morning arrival to the airport in just a few days' time. So probably time for all of us to call it a day.
It's been an eventful day for Alison and Jeremy. And after nearly a year in the planning, they've finally met Sasha and Kangoo. Heading off for some rest, they're aware there's lots to do if the chimps are going to be ready in time for the flight to the UK. Back home in Dorset, the summer has been one of the hottest and driest on record, with parched lands and little rain. The soaring temperatures have been testing for the team at the park, who need to keep more than 260 primates cool and hydrated. At the orangutan nursery, primate care member James has risen to the challenge.
It's been hot all year, really, this heat wave. Everything's very, very dry, so we're trying to keep the guys as hydrated as possible, generally with play-style things with water. So today we've got a mixture of jelly balls, which is basically just jelly in these play balls that they usually have quite a lot of fun with. And there's some fake ones in there as well, so not everyone's got a treat. And then we're filling up a load of trug tubs with some bubbly water for them to play with, putting these in, and hopefully they'll keep them hydrated, make them have a good old morning.
Most of the primate species at the park come from warmer climes, but the majority have lived their lives here and are used to the British climate.
Orangutans in their tropical habitat obviously can deal with the heat quite well, but in the tropical habitat there's a lot of humidity in the forest, a lot of moisture, a lot of shade as well in the canopy, so they tend to not really go up to the very high tips like your smaller monkeys do. They tend to stay more in the shade of the canopies. So we try and keep our guys, when we have big heat waves like this, as hydrated as possible, but also being able to play during the day as well and keep them busy and happy with it. So hopefully they'll enjoy this. Lots of bubbles, lots of water play and lots of jelly balls, so I'm sure they'll have a good morning.
Before being let out into their enclosure, the 5 orangutans making up the group are given their daily vitamins and supplements. Then, James opens up. The group head out, keen to see what he has in store for them today. Female Rika is first to the jelly balls. She's clever enough to know they may contain something delicious, but is it worth getting wet for? Unusually, O'Sheen is off the ground, assessing the situation from above as Rika starts to search through the tub. Orangutans are problem solvers and very capable. The two males, Bulu Mata and Sylvester, share the spoils. The youngster looks up to Sylvester and is constantly learning from him. 7-year-old Mimi is the youngest in the group. She loves her food and comes up trumps. There's plenty of jelly in this one, and she sucks it dry. Oisin, on the other hand, has a more delicate approach.
Oisin's not so keen on getting water on it. She doesn't mind it a little bit if it's just a passing shower or something like that, but certainly in the winter, as soon as it starts raining, she's off or puts a blanket over her head as a bit of a cover. So she didn't want to get too involved in the water, but also Oisin is very, very intelligent with the balls, so half of them had jelly and half of them were fake. So Oisin probably learnt from previous times that we've done it that the ones that were fake were floating more and the ones with the jelly in were going to the bottom, so she was probably getting a jelly ball every single time. So it's quite interesting watching Oisin when we do things like this.
The jelly balls and water tubs have been a success, keeping the orangutans cool and providing a hydrating and fun treat. But it's surprising the water stayed in the tub so long. Before the youngsters worked out there's an alternative way to get to the balls. And the empty tubs can now be put to another use. Playtime. It's been a tumultuous few months at the Stumpy house following the loss of leader Sam and 2 of the females. Relationships between the remaining macaques have fractured, turning the hierarchy on its head. The primate care team have been forced to split the group, with the 3 girls remaining together while the 2 males are alone.
We had a lot of fights, and we need to remember that all of these monkeys, they're not normal. They've been through quite a lot in their lives. A lot of the girls have physical ailments, so the constant fighting, it just put a lot of damage on their health. So we took the decision to split them all up completely. So they've had some time on their own, but now we want to properly crack down and get the group back together.
The plan today is to put Toto back with the 3 females Sylvie, Noreen and Kelly. While they get reacquainted indoors, Freddie is kept separate, making the most of the outside enclosure.
So I'm very nervous. Hopefully it does all go well. We have got measures in place for if it does go wrong. Fingers crossed it won't. But it's macaque society. They are an aggressive species, and it is unfortunately the way that they do establish their hierarchy positions. They do have to fight. They have to dominance bite. There's a lot of body language as well, whether it's facial expressions. So it's just making sure that, you know, we're watching everything just so we can try and understand what the conversation is and what's going on. Hey, Reenie Bean, is your boyfriend coming?
Initially, Sylvie, who's now the dominant female, is kept back while Noreen and Kelly wait to meet Toto. Sylvie can be a bit full-on, especially with a male around. Enter Toto, full of bravado, posturing and strutting his stuff. But the show of male testosterone leaves Noreen and Kelly slightly nonplussed. It's only when Sylvie joins them that Toto gets the attention he craves. By being submissive and letting Toto regularly mate with her, Sylvie reminds the other 2 females she's top girl.
I would have thought he would have gone for Noreen first to have some close time with. It is normally his favourite female. I just wonder if it's because Sylvie is now the most dominant and she was a lot more confident going up to him. Kelly is not bothered at all. Her and Toto actually don't have a close relationship like he does with the other 2 girls, so I think she's quite happy to sit out of this one.
Once the group have settled, Elle decides it's time to move the reintroductions on a step further.
What we're going to do now is we're going to kind of let Fred back in, We're going to let the group have access outside, but this will mean that Fred will have mesh contact with the group. So it could change things up a little bit because they will be able to have contact with him, but they will also have the choice as to whether they go in or out.
Freddie is secured in the tunnel system, while the other 4 are given outside access.
Hi. Come on in, Toto.
Toto follows Sylvie into the enclosure, with Kelly and Noreen bringing up the rear. Freddie is then allowed indoors. The other 4 are all happy outside, enjoying the sunshine. The enclosure provides plenty of opportunities to forage and have lots of space to move around. Having been passed over for Sylvie indoors, Noreen is trying to catch Toto's eye outdoors. Meanwhile, Freddie is straining to get a glimpse of his housemates. Eventually, the main group of 4 venture back inside. Freddie remains in his bedrooms, separated only by the mesh.
They've now got the option as to whether they want to come and say hello to him, so it'll be interesting to see if they actually do.
The boys start with a quiet greeting, but seconds later, it's no holds barred.
It's just symbolising that they still haven't sorted out between themselves which one is more dominant, and that is something that they will have to sort out when they are all put together as a group.
The group are going to have to stay separated for now, allowing the boys the chance to sort out the hierarchy at arm's length. Until they do, the 4 can't become 5 once more. In Argentina, Alison and animal director Jeremy are back at the Buenos Aires Eco Park, having recharged their batteries after a 24-hour journey starting in Dorset and ending with them getting a first look at chimps Sasha and Kangoo. The mother and son are due to be relocated to Monkey World in a few days' time.
So we've come into the zoo nice and early this morning. I'm keeping my voice down so that we don't disrupt the chimps. Sasha and Kangoo are a little bit sort of cautious of everything that's been happening because their normal routine, which they've experienced throughout their entire life now, is being changed all of a sudden. So in the last week or so, the keepers have been coming in really early and waking them up so that on the day that we need to take them to the airport, they're used to getting up early and going inside of those transport boxes willingly.
Hola, Kangoo!
But there is one difficulty, and that's Sasha. You know, everything's sort of setting alarm bells off for Sasha. Kangoo, the young lad, is like most young lads, nah, no problem. Do I get a snack inside there? Great, I'm going in. But either way, it's gonna be okay, but all of us here are working so hard to make sure that everything is perfect for the 2 chimpanzees, and that's what this is all about.
Head of Conservation and Wildlife, Thomas Sciola, takes Alison and Jeremy on a tour of the chimp house and enclosure.
Buenos dias. Hello. Hello. How are you? Good.
It gives Alison the opportunity to speak to one of the chimp's keepers.
They are very different each other. Kangoo's personality is more plastic than Sasha, because he's very much younger than she. She's a good mother, and she's always keeping an eye on him.
Oh, nice.
She's the best.
Yeah.
And she's so intelligent. We always said if we give a pen to Sasha, he can make a rocket to the moon because she's so intelligent.
Yeah.
Alison and Jeremy are keen to gather as much information as they can about the chimps, not just their characters, but also their diet, routines, and preferences.
They have these 2 bathrooms at the inside, 1 in the outside, and 1 more in the other part of the building. And this place for them was good because when Sasha wants to be alone, she can do it, and the same for Kangoo. And if they want to be all together, they can do it too.
Life is about to change dramatically for Sasha and Kangoo. In 4 days' time, they'll fly to the UK to start a new life at Monkey World, joining a small group of chimps led by Brian.
A lot of
See how big he is? You can see probably see his size better. And
Oh, gosh. Brian. Claro. Mañana se lo pueden presentar con Brian.
He is very, very kind.
Dice que se deja pinchar, que se deja revisar.
Just like the chimps at Monkey World, Sasha and Kangoo are given their morning feed outside, including various forms of enrichment.
obviously here, you know, just by the geography and everything and the way the place is built, they can't capitalise on height like we can back at Monkey World. But they've made a really, really good job of keeping stuff, you know, on a low level and giving lots of different options. They've made a, you know, sort of area where the chimps can get away from each other and separate themselves from each other, and, you know, they've got great sort of options for doing different things and, you know, having different spaces. The only thing that would have been nicer possibly was height, but clearly that wasn't going to be an option on the site. So, you know, they've compromised very, very well, and it's fantastic.
The Argentinian keepers will find it a wrench when they leave.
Of course, Kangoo is like my love, my primate love, my non-human primate love. And we're not gonna lie, I'm sad too. I spent so much years with them, sorry. But this is our dream. We dream this. We dream the best life for them. It's the best thing that we can give to a chimpanzee, to live in a group and know another ones and play and fight and have fun and sleep with others. And I think that is the only thing that it matters now. Even if we are not going to see them anymore, we know that is what is right, and we want to do it.
Once the decision was made by the city government to transform the former zoo into an eco-park, there was really only one place Thomas wanted to send the chimps: Monkey World.
They have an amazing track record of working with specialists. They are specialists themselves. So it was an easy decision for us. And now we are really happy to be close to the final days.
There's a lot of hard work ahead in those coming days before Sasha and Kangoo are ready to begin their journey to a new life on the other side of the world. Next time on Monkey Life. There's trepidations as Alison and Jeremy prepare to fly chimps Sasha and Kangoo from Argentina to Dorset.
The fact is, no matter how we try, these two guys in here have not read the instruction manual.
And back at the park, two baby woolly monkeys enjoy time with their family.